Hi, Mr. Voss's class. It's Melanie, Representative Melanie Stambaugh from Washington State. I was recently featured on a segment of HBO's Vice News Tonight, sharing about my situation with the Washington Legislative Ethics Board. Mr. Voss tweeted at me and shared that your class would be discussing this situation and looking for justice. HBO provided a broad overview of the situation, and I want to give a few specific details that will aid in your discussion. I was elected to the Washington State House of Representatives in 2014 at the age of 24. I am the youngest woman elected to the state legislature here in Washington since 1936 and continue to serve as the youngest member in Washington State. I stepped into politics so I could be my community's voice. I represent more than 139,000 people in the 25th Legislative District. Communication between myself and my community is vital to passing good policy. I provide information on the work we do in state government, and my community provides feedback to me. This enables me to be their voice. So, there are two questions. The first, with this Legislative Ethics Board issue, what is it all about? Simply put, it is about YouTube videos and Flickr photos that I shared to my Facebook page. In 2015 and 2016, I shared 19 YouTube videos and 25 Flickr photos on my Facebook page. Now, the Legislative Ethics Board would have you think I took those from the state, but that is not the case. After these videos are filmed and pictures are taken, the state chooses to place them onto YouTube.com and Flickr.com. I didn't put them there. When the state does this, they are agreeing to YouTube's terms of service. These terms of service say that this video can be shared, distributed, displayed, and derivative works can be made from that video. Additionally, when the state places these photos on Flickr.com, they use a Creative Commons license saying these photos can be shared, distributed, and even made commercially available. That means someone could sell that picture, make money, and the state says it's okay. HBO asked if I had 2 Facebook pages, would that enable me to have alleviated this issue with the Legislative Ethics Board? The answer is no. Because the state chose the licensing with YouTube and Flickr, these materials can be shared on any page, any social media account, or any website. The state is the one that has selected the licensing, dictating how these materials can be used. The second question that needs to be asked is, did I break a rule? The answer is no, because the Legislative Ethics Board has never had a rule dictating social media use until May 25th, 2016. I shared these YouTube videos and Flickr photos in 2015, and my last post was March 14th, 2016, more than 2 months prior to the social media rule being put into effect. The title of this social media rule is Prospective Ruling. What does the word prospective mean? It means applying to future activity, stating that this rule applies to any action by a legislator from May 25th, 2016 and forward, where I posted everything prior to the rule ever being in effect. Now, because no social media rule existed from the Legislative Ethics Board, it was common for legislators to share these YouTube videos and Flickr photos the same way that I did. Myself and more than 32 other legislators in Washington State all shared the same thing. Even a current member of the Legislative Ethics Board and a past member of the Legislative Ethics Board had these same YouTube videos on their Facebook accounts. The Legislative Ethics Board has stated that my campaign website is in full compliance with all Legislative Ethics Board website rules. So if I've met all of the website rules and shared these YouTube videos and Flickr photos prior to the social media prospective ruling, how can the Legislative Ethics Board apply this rule retroactively only to me? I believe it's important to have a level playing field in politics, and the licensing of these YouTube videos and Flickr photos allows for just that, an equal playing field. Because all of the public can access these videos and photos. They can use and share them equally. Both incumbents or current legislators and candidates running against those legislators have access to these videos and photos, and challenging candidates often use these against current legislators in their campaigns. If these were government resources, they would not be accessible by the public. HBO showed the House floor and that the public cannot access that space. And then they showed the House galleries, where the public has access. These YouTube videos and Flickr photos are not on the House floor, unable to be accessed by the public. Instead, the state has placed them in the House galleries, where they are available for public use. So here's an illustration of what's taken place. I'm driving on a road. I have my driver's license, I'm following the rules of the road, and abiding by all laws. It's a busy street. There's more than 32 other legislative drivers, current and past Legislative Ethics Board members, all driving on the same street. And yet, I am the only one who's stopped. I comply with all requests of the Legislative Ethics Board, and yet they haul me to the first public hearing in 22 years in Washington State. I have to hire an attorney, and they fine me, all for not breaking any rules and using these materials in accordance with the state-given licensing terms. The Legislative Ethics Board has confused the understanding of free technology. There is no cost to these materials. In this driving example, what they've done is they have made legislators not want to drive on this street, or make legislators not want to provide information about the work of their government to their communities. This is an injustice, that we can't trust licensing terms, and that we can't share free information, especially information that's talking about government work, enabling people to get connected to the political process. It has been expensive to stand for free information and stand against these inaccurate allegations by the Legislative Ethics Board. Over the last year, I've accrued more than $30,000 in legal fees, fines, and services. And so, I'm using my talent to earn money to pay this off. I actually placed first in Washington State on the marimba in high school, and so with each note and each song I play, I am standing for our access to free information about how our government works. I love to read. I've read the licensing terms of these YouTube videos and Flickr photos, and I use them in accordance to their license. I love to lead us through this situation and lead us to asking better questions. Questions about the action of the Legislative Ethics Board and their improper precedent that they have now set. I am standing for freedom and free use of free information. It is important that we, you and I, as millennials, stand together for access to free information, because we communicate using social media, and we should be able to communicate using YouTube videos and Flickr photos about how our government operates. Thank you, Mr. Voss, for allowing me to share this video with you and your class. Feel free to write me, send me an email, send me a Facebook message to ask any questions or share any ideas you have from your class discussion. Thank you for your time, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye from Washington State.